Welcome to the Work-Life Balance Podcast. I am Kara.
And I am Maggie.
Together, we're a power real estate team with the Bajetti Partners in Nashville.
We believe that the hustle culture of today's driven entrepreneur who lives and works in Middle Tennessee requires balance.
Welcome back to Work-Life Balance with Kara and Maggie.
Welcome back.
Well, today we're talking longevity in real estate. So we're going to give you maybe some tips and tricks and clues on what we're thinking and how we're going to keep the longevity when the markets change. So
Stuff that we've already been doing or try to do on a daily. So
absolutely. So why don't you kick us off, Maggie girl?
All right. So, number one for us is networking and continuing to stay around like-minded people and continuing to, get around as many people as possible. Relationships are the number one thing in real estate.
Yeah, for sure.
Might as well just be called relationships instead of real estate because that's all it is. So networking, staying around people that are in the business or just trying to get around people that are doing what you need. So buying or selling. Yeah. And networking is the number one way to do that, in my opinion.
You do that too you're in BNI and you've done some marketing groups, and we've talked about that before. But do you think that you see that BNI has been pretty lucrative for you in your business?
I think so, for sure. I think so. And then not only like BNI and just specific networking groups like that, but just also going to the events that like lenders throw and staying around those kind of people also really helps too.
I agree. And I think those just, like I was saying earlier, it just makes you inspired. Yeah. When you're around people that are doing the same thing and you're networking and you're all talking about the same thing, it creates like an excitement and energy a
spark.
Yeah. And then you get the momentum going. You're like, okay, we're all in this together. Yeah. What are you doing that I can do better?
100%.
So I love that.
And it helps too when, real estate sometimes can be up and down. And if you're in a down and you're going around all these people networking and getting new ideas and coming out of there feeling really motivated, it can kind of get you on the up and up.
Right.
So, and create that momentum.
I fully agree with that one. Yeah. I think I'm going to piggyback off that on our second one, which is stay informed. We do probably once a quarter, if not more, we go to an event held by a title company or a lender or the real estate commission or something. And I think that helps you stay on top of your game.
It does.
Bringing what's going on, what are we seeing with the market, and how can we all, work together to figure out how to pivot when we're changing. So staying informed is super important. Not only with that level of it, but I also think with your clients, the more you know, the more service you can provide, right? So they're going to look at you like apples to apple. They might interview me and 5 other agents. And if I'm one that's educated with what's actually happening economically, interest rates, all the things that's happening out in the market, they're going to go, okay, this girl's got her shit together. Right. She knows what she's doing. She's on top of it. She's not under a rock. So I think being informed, proving that you are always ahead of the game shows you just are in it to win it. You're not here for a short term.
No.
Right?
Absolutely. No, I 100% agree with that. Yeah. I think those, like you were saying, those networking events that we kind of were piggybacking off of really help a lot too. We've gone to some that are AI and how to automate your business and stuff for agents. But then on the other side of that too, there is so much information that I feel like a lot of realtors don't even know that you can get from your MLS. You can run all kinds of reports. You can look at the trends. You can stay up to date on all of that. You can see how many closings happened in your area the past month. All of that information is free to you if you are a realtor paying for the MLS.
Right.
So that's another
You even use it for, and actually it was something that I've never really used it for, was, with our investors that are looking at what rental rates are.
Oh, yeah.
Because MLS has a whole rental site. So, and I think that might be a Tennessee MLS thing. I don't know if that's in every state where you can market your rentals and stuff on there. It's not a sell. And note on that, agents, you can make money on that. You get a commission on a rental. So sidebar.
Yeah. Want that too, for sure. But I also think that, and this is kind of on a tangent here, but if you're looking at it from that standpoint, if you go through the MLS with your rentals, typically those are really accurate numbers as far as what you can get because those people have been vetted. They went through the process and actually qualified. And it's not just some random number that was put in by an agent. So that information's reliable.
Yeah.
Rather than rent.com or something.
So that's just all about being informed and just staying You have to, if you're going to stick in this business for 20, 30, 40 years, you have got to put yourself above the average realtor because everybody's a realtor anymore.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, staying informed too would just, we get asked questions all the time, which I think we kind of don't even realize that we're staying informed when talking about this stuff. But I mean, like the lawsuits that are going on within real estate right now and just market trends as far as like a global standpoint goes and what the market's actually doing and how it's affected and stuff like that you read in the news rather than getting from your MLS or going to networking things.
Yeah. And it's good to be informed globally, but like in Middle Tennessee specifically, this is a really easy example, is such a unique little bubble.
Yeah.
That what's happening global with rental rates, they're showing that actually they're on the downward or they're decreasing. Where Middle Tennessee is completely increasing because home prices have gotten so out of control where people can't afford it. So you should be educated globally on what's happening, but you need to be educated in your specific market because your market is not necessarily correlated directly to what's happening in the country.
Right.
Because we're all such a unique market.
Yeah.
So
you say that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever's happening in your market is strictly geographical.
Yeah.
You cannot just take whatever's happening in Middle California to Middle Tennessee.
Correct.
So,
or in Milwaukee.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Some small town. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the third one is financial planning. So absolutely. I mean, we've talked about this before, knowing to save for your taxes, knowing how to make one check last months and months, right? I mean, you get in a business, you could not make a sale for 6 months, or you could have been in the business for 3 years and the market takes a crash and you have to be able to ride that wave too.
Yeah.
Kara can talk more on experience than I can.
I think that that's probably one of the biggest reasons people get out of the business is because they don't set themselves up properly. Right. The checks can look really big and you're like, oh my goodness, cash it, spend it. Well, guess what? You don't get another one for 6 months or even a couple months. And you're scraping, and so that's super scary because you're not a or whatever. You're not a paycheck. No. What am I trying to say?
You're not
a
on
steady
salary,
paycheck. You're not a salary. You're not. Yeah. You don't.
No guaranteed.
No. And guess what? Closing day comes and it falls apart. Yeah. So you're betting on maybe that. So that is huge. I remember when I first got my license, my dad was like, "I want you to take 50% of every commission and just put it in an account. Yeah. Don't even think about it. Set it in the account. It's going to go to taxes. And then at the end of the year, when taxes are done and you've used that, whatever's left over, you're like, yeah, I can move that over to my savings account or whatever your plan is." But, I think that's a huge issue for agents. We just
100%
think like, oh, it's just these big checks are going to come and they're going to be consistent. And
it's not the case.
They're not
at all.
And on top of that, too, I think when you first start real estate, you have to be prepared that it's not like you're just going to go in with not putting any upfront costs into it. So there's a lot of upfront costs that people don't think about. It's expensive to take your test first and foremost. Then you got to get, insurance. Then you've got to get, you got to belong to the memberships in your area and the real tracks. And
all of that is not cheap. I mean, we're talking barrier to entry at least a couple grand.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Depending on what kind of brokerage you're at, like here we don't necessarily have a monthly pay that you pay towards the brokerage, but a lot of places do. And if you're going to go to some other kind of brokerage where they require you to put X amount of money up front to get your commission or whatever the case may be, like that is not a small chunk of money. Like that's a big deal.
You're talking thousands of dollars.
Absolutely.
So you better make it back. And now you're at zero. So like they say, okay, $5,000 to join my brokerage. Okay, well, your first check is going to basically pay you back, right? So Yeah.
So you need about 3 of those to actually be on the up.
Exactly.
But like Kara said a minute ago, and she told me this in the very, very beginning, and it, always has stuck with me. You better not count on a paycheck until that ish is in your bank. Because like she said, it could fall apart last minute. You have no idea what's going to happen. It could get extended. So do not bank on that. Make sure you are good to go. If you're thinking about getting into the business, I would definitely make sure you have a little bit of money saved up because it might take a little bit of time.
It's going to take some time. Just financial planning is it's important because, again, like we said, the market fluctuates and you could be riding really high and, closing deals left and right. And then what just happened this last year and the market completely shifts. And if you're not an agent that's capable of pivoting with it, then you're one of the thousands that just fell off the beginning of 2024. So, and I'd probably say more like millions, but I don't know what the exact account the exact count is, but there was a lot of lenders and realtors that
I think they
couldn't
said
weather the
40%
storm.
or something
That's
like
huge.
that. Huge
That's
drop,
huge.
which goes into what we're going to talk about later in discipline, but we'll come back.
So number 4 on our list was adapting market changes, and that is very important. And Maggie and I have talked about that since the day we joined forces. And you need to be able to strategize. You need to be able to pivot. You need to be able to work with what you've got. Right. And I strongly believe every market is a great market. There's money to be made in every single market. In fact, I made the most money in my life when the market was in the toilet. So if you know what you're doing and you're able to pivot and maybe you're using the market for your own personal, Maggie's going to become an investor soon. And, she became a first-time home buyer in a high market.
Yeah.
And now maybe she's going to be able to become an investor in a down market. And knowing that and staying up front and watching the changes and adapting puts you in a position that you would not have,
which goes back to, staying informed too. Like you have to know what's coming so that you can know what you need to be doing to get ahead of it.
Right.
Because you don't want the market to change and you be behind. You want to keep staying ahead, doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like Kara said, there is money to be made in every single market. It's just the different types of buyers that are in that market or sellers that are in that market.
Yeah. I just want to piggyback on that because I hate, and I think I last year when the market changed and, people were falling off and we would have people like lenders come in and they were like, oh, it's just so bad and blah, blah, blah. This negative energy. And Maggie and I would look at each other like, whew, glad they left.
Yeah.
We're doing great because we have
Don't drag us down.
Yeah, don't drag us down with that negativity because if you're playing your profession like that, then you're not in it for longevity. If you can't handle when the market changes, whether you're a lender, title, realtor, really whatever profession you are, that's a sales-based company. If you can't handle that, then you are definitely in the wrong profession, and your negativity does not bring that money. It's actually going to push it away. Hence why I have a money tree.
Yes, right rubber. Hey, which is looking pretty healthy.
Beautiful,
She's looking healthy right now.
Healthy.
But no, that I think, out of all of the lists, I genuinely think that's most important.
It's very important.
Being able to adapt and change and stay ahead and keep up with what's going on with AI and keep up with what's going on with the market. And honestly, you just have to work your network really, really hard in all of the different markets too, because you never know who's going to become a buyer. And if you're not strategizing and making a plan and continuing to follow up and all of the things, you're never going to be able to adapt. So. Goes into what, again, we'll talk about in a minute, but discipline.
Yeah. So in fact, I wanted to say, I watched this thing on Grant Cardone this morning, and number one thing he said he does, no matter what, is you call every single person, no matter if it was somebody that you got a lead that came across your desk and you're like, there's no way, 1, this person can't qualify, or 2, they probably have 500 friends that are agents.
Right.
He never has missed a lead, and we'll call it till blue in the face until you answer my call. I'm calling you. And you might get shot down, but that all goes back to you're following up, you're networking, you're staying on top of everything to really be prepared.
Right.
I guess that's what it is, being prepared.
Yeah. And I really like what you said. And we say this all the time, and I've heard it many times from other people, is you treat every single person and every single lead, quote unquote, the same. Yeah. Whether they're super cold or super hot, continuing to stay up to date with them. You might, do it at different times depending on how hot they are. You might go a month without talking to somebody. You might go a week without talking to others, and that looks different. But treating everybody with kindness, too, I think is a huge thing.
Goes far.
Because if they're not ready to buy right now, if you're still kind and stay in touch with them and care, then, guess who's going to come back to you whenever they are ready to buy?
That should be on our list as follow-up. Helps with longevity of this game, because you are creating relationships, which you said right off the number one thing was creating relationships. And the way we look at it is not transactional. We always say that. We're a relationship-based brokerage, not a transaction. We do not do this everybody does it for the money, but we're not money driven.
Yeah.
We are.
There's a difference.
There is a huge difference, and some people have to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
But if you look at this as, and I'm going to jump ahead of it, but this as a long-term career, then.
And a career, not a job.
You look at it differently.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think so. Career, not a job.
Career, not a job.
Tag that.
Yep.
Clip it. But hashtag. That is like so cringy. Oh my gosh. Ignore that. But number 5 being, which we kind of have talked about it too, but continued education, which is different in my opinion than staying informed in networking. Like there are continued education that you are required to do as a realtor by the Real Estate Commission. And a lot of those look like code of conduct and ethics and, you know, just, I don't know. There's so many. I could go into a bunch. But, I mean, those are the very first 2 that you take off the rip. And they make you take those, and you're required to have a certain amount. And that is because you need to stay on top of what the laws are and what's changing within TAR or whatever you're a part of.
Sure.
Because there's always changes. And they even change the documents that are in our MLS every year.
You're right.
So they have classes where you can go and learn about what changes were made and all of that.
Which I think, you know, and our documents aren't very... like they're not super long, so it's easy for us to read them and be like, oh, that looks different.
Right.
You know, but in wherever you do real estate, you should stay on top of your documents because they're not going to call you and be like, hey, did you know we changed the buyer rep this month? Yeah. It's like, oh shit, you did? Like, no, I didn't know that. In fact, I didn't know they changed the buyer's rep, which I should, but it was not at the beginning of the year. It was at the end of the year, and I learned it at a conference we were at. Yeah. And they're like, oh, did anybody, I remember if she asked that question, and I was like,
no,
I should, as the broker, I should know that. And honestly, they should let me know, hey, that we're changing forms so I can share it with my agents. But that's part of that, you know, staying on top of it because
we have people sign stuff. And I mean, yes, everything in a real estate transaction is buyer to do due diligence also, right? It is on them also to make sure that they are reading the contracts. They know what's in it.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if they sign the paper, I mean, it's on them at closing. We don't want that to happen, and we like to keep everybody as informed as possible. But I mean, a lot of times we get familiar with the documents and don't go through every single line every single time we send them. Right. So if there's a minor change that's made, a minor change could make major differences. So
absolutely,
if we're not noticing that, then it could be detrimental to our clients.
It's important. It's just important to be educated. I had to do 180 hours recently, and that was a lot.
She learned a lot, though.
I learned a lot.
Kara learned a lot. She got educated.
Oh, that's for my goodness. Bless all you brokers' hearts out there, because that continued education is no joke.
No joke, for sure.
And the last thing I have on the list, I think it's like the most important. Obviously, it all is very important, but at the end of the day, this is a long-term, like I already said, a long-term career and a long-term game. So if you are in it to win it and make $1 million your first year, and that's your goal, I hate to tell you, but this is not that jam.
Yeah.
So
not a get-rich-quick scheme.
It's not. And so really having patience, realizing that it's long-term, creating the relationships, networking, doing all of the things that we've mentioned, and just really just having patience and discipline, financial planning, all that mixed into one creates longevity in real estate. And it's not like such a hard concept to understand. It's just, this is a reality on this profession.
Right.
You know, and I hate to see people come in and then they flop around or they're out really fast. And it's because nobody taught them that this is not a instant gratification career.
Yeah. Which, I mean, especially my generation too has gotten so used to that instant gratification just with all of the technology and stuff that we have now. But I think that is a huge reason why young people don't succeed very quickly in real estate, because it's a lot harder when you're young to be disciplined and know that. Yep. But anybody that knows Kara and I knows that we are definitely routine people.
Yes.
Like we like to be in a routine. We like to wake up, know that it's Monday, and know exactly what we're doing on a Monday, right? Yeah. And just doing all of the things, not only in our professional life, but personal life, that keep us level. Because, I mean, like we said earlier, real estate is a roller coaster. And if you're not level and you're the one facilitating all of this, it's going to make it much worse, not only for you, but for everybody involved.
Oh, your client for sure feels that energy.
I mean, we do the same things pretty much every week. And, I mean, it works for us.
It works. Yeah. And we both love to go on vacation, but then we're calling each other at the end going, oh my God, that was really fun, but I cannot wait to get back to work.
I know, cannot wait.
No, we like routine and we like consistency.
Yeah, exactly.
And that helps, because if you're all over the board in this profession, it's how do you keep track?
You can't. That's the answer. You can't. You have to be, and going back to strategizing to like knowing what you're going to do and when you're going to do it kind of thing, and keeping up with your CRM on a daily. And I mean, that
Very
all
important.
looks like discipline, right?
That's
Like continuing to do the same things and knowing what works for you. And if it's not working, then pivoting and continuing on the same path, right? So,
Amen, girl.
yeah.
I think, I mean, and she's in it for the long-term plan. Obviously, I've been in it 20 years. So that works. Like she sees that this is going to take some time because it does. You want to build your CRM and you want to have a database of thousands and thousands of people. So then your business becomes a referral business. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, that you're not paying for leads. You're not having to, always be out hustling.
Right.
Although the hustle part is so fun. I enjoy that part of it. You're out and about and you're always talking real estate, and that's just a natural conversation. But eventually, maybe you do want to take off for a month and kick your feet in the sand, and the referrals are coming.
Exactly.
And you've created that for yourself. So,
and that takes years, y'all. Like that
Years.
is not, we're not talking about a couple of months, we are talking years.
we're talking lots and lots of years.
So, I mean, it takes time to get your name out there and have not only that, I mean, you can get your name out there pretty quick. Don't get me wrong. But it's having people trust you. Exactly. To do the job.
I knew you were going to say that.
I know. Trust who you're with, and knowing that they're going to do a good job for you takes time. People are going to look at your social media and talk to you. And if you are inexperienced, they're going to know that right off the bat.
Absolutely.
And they're not going to use you.
Yep.
Not saying that they don't use inexperienced people or people that are new, because they do. People will.
Yeah.
But that goes back to staying informed and all of that. But also just being around, this goes back to number 1 too, being around like-minded people.
Yeah.
Because I could not have, and I'll say this 100%, I would not have the discipline that I have unless I was around Kara and all of the other people at our brokerage that are on the same path and have the same goals, just period.
I agree. I mean, I feel the same about myself. It brings a different kind of, well, I always say it, like our synergy is very important. And because it creates the synergy in the office and the people that you're around, that you're all talking to, and it brings you to a higher level, that is like something you can't just recreate. Like that is natural. It's, what is it, authentic? It's just like, I don't know, something special is what it is. So get around those kind of people. I want to see you all survive long-term in this business, because it's a wonderful path of, you can get financial freedom out of it. You can start building your own wealth with real estate and investing and all that. So besides selling real estate, use it as a vehicle to create your long-term financial planning and goals and stuff. So,
and let's just say this, there is room for anybody that wants to be in this business to be in this business. There is enough to go around.
Yes.
It is competitive and it is cutthroat in some situations, and some markets are different than others. But there is room for everybody. So if you're scared not to get in the business for any reason, as long as you're doing the things that you know that you need to do to continue on the path, which all the 6 things that we just said and talked about, you can do it too.
You can do it. Yeah. So do it. Hope that was helpful today. As always, you can always send us messages where we'd love to respond to them. But until next time,
don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. We say the same thing every time.
I know. A routine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we will see y'all next
Till
week.
next time.
Bye.